How's it going, everybody? This is Alex Caceres, and you're listening to Story of the Fight.
Will,
what up? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. It's January 2nd. Everybody, welcome to Story of the Fight. It's a special episode today. This is Story of the Fight where we cover all things MMA, fighting, and we get to roll out the red carpet today, Will.
Yeah, finally.
It's the second annual. It is the second annual, right? Yeah, second annual.
Second annual. Look at that.
Story of the Fight Awards. I wish we had some sound effects right now, like the crowd, like going off right now.
Each episode, for each pick.
Yeah, exactly. So my name is Romero. Got my boy Will over here, and in the background, we got Richie Casual on the ones and twos, and so this is it. I've actually been looking forward to this episode.
Yeah, me too. These are just fun. They're fun to see, like what each other values. You know.
Yeah. So I don't know what you have picked. I don't know who you're handing awards to.
Nope.
I don't know who I'm handing awards to. And by the way, what other award show hands out multiple awards? The other ones are so lame, and they have one award go out to one person.
And they pick the same people every year. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, like not here, Will. Not here at Story of the Fight.
No. Who else is gonna be? I mean, clearly it's cold. We're both cold right now.
Yeah, I'm bundled up right now.
Everybody else has the glitz and the glam, and they have all these frills, Nah, we keep it real.
Not here. Not here. What you see is what you get, okay, people?
What you see is, yeah.
All right. So
but as we go through, I want everybody else should, when we pick something and you guys disagree with it, tell us and let us know what the right pick is. It'd be cool to gauge everybody else, because I think this year is not a lot of guarantees. Last year was a little bit more obvious for most of the choices. This year, lots of choices for each category.
What I was gonna say is, give a quick shout out to Sansan, Vic, both of them from Upgrade, Jorge, John, and Nevro, who all participated and sent in their awards. So
nice.
We'll go ahead and hand out our awards. You should reach out to Coleslaw. Let's see who else. HLB Kilmer.
Yeah, that guy's a hard guy to track down outside of this.
Yeah, I don't
get
know
his
where
details.
I don't know where he resides. You know, so all right, we'll go and get started. The 2022 SOF Awards, everybody. I'm super excited. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started with Breakout Star of the Year for 2021. Will, who did you pick?
So I'll go first.
Yeah, you go first.
All right. Now, how about you go first?
Okay, then I'll go first. My Breakout Star of the Year is Tai Tuivasa. Now, I know that Tai Tuivasa has been around already, right, for a minute, but I think that the stardom is starting to take off. He had 3 fights this year against Harry Hunsucker. What a name.
Yeah.
Right? Where he finishes in the first round. He fights the person that everybody loves to see get beat up, Greg Hardy. And you know what? He puts him in his place. Round 1, ground and pound. And then he takes a step up in competition against Augusta Sakai. And guess what, dude? Just for good measure, he's like, I wonder if I can go past the first round. Goes into the second round and knocks him out as well. And it was a gnarly knockout. And he is a fan favorite. He starts walking in. The stadiums wherever he's at blow up. The shoey. You see the shoey all over social media. Bigger than ever. And right now, Tai Tuivasa is just, riding on that star that's ascending.
Yeah.
And he's enjoying the ride, dude.
That's a good pick.
Star 2021, Tai Tuivasa, my man. Hey, from the area. You know what I mean?
That's a good pick,
dude. Yeah.
Yeah. I went with someone who we kind of knew coming into this year he was going to get his debut, right? And he was going to be making big waves, things like that, right? and I went with Paddy the Baddie Pimblett.
I was close. I was close to picking that one too. Look at that.
Come on, look at him. The dude. I mean, the dude blew up after his performance. He was already, I think, like a lot of the hardcores knew coming in, like this guy's gonna be. He's gonna take some star power away from a lot of other guys, right? He's gonna take the spotlight. He had a crazy fight, right? maybe not the exactly how he wanted it to go. Got rocked pretty early, but he comes back, gets the knockout. Only fought once this year, but that's kind of all he needed because social media after that, it was like impossible not to see him everywhere. Picture of him comparing him with the dude from the In-Betweeners because of the haircut, all his interviews, right? He blows up after the fact. He's getting all chunky and stuff. You see him everywhere. But what made me pick him was not just that, but I feel like he's deserving of Story of the Fights award because his breakout video alone, I think, did more views for us than anything else that we put out this year.
Oh, I like that.
I like to give him the award as a thank you for bringing ice to our channel as well.
Hey, Paddy the
Baddie Pimblett.
All right, so here are some of the listeners' picks. Sansan, Cyril Gahn, Jorge, AJ McKee, Vic,
that's a good one.
Cyril Gahn, John, also known as JPZ, shout out JPZ, Paddy the Baddie, and Nevro, Adrian Yanez.
Ooh, these are all good.
Right. Those are all very good.
Yanez also got a lot of shine this year.
He did. I think he also had 3 fights this year.
Mm-hmm. And Cyril Gahn, I mean, the dude, finally his fights are getting canceled, and you see where he can go in 1 year. He can become an interim champion.
Absolutely. And AJ McKee, not from the UFC, but you know what? He had a very solid year too. Beating Pitbull, starting to take off, getting in the little, scuffle with Nate Diaz in the back. But somebody whose star is rising as well. So very nice picks there from our listeners also. Yeah,
those are good picks.
All right. I kind of like that order. You want to do that? I go first, you go second, then I go with the listeners' picks.
That works.
I like
back and forth.
Yeah. Most disappointing fighter of 2021. I don't know if anybody wants to win this award.
I don't think anybody wants to win this award. I don't even like giving this award. It just makes me feel bad.
Yeah, but you know what? Also, there is some disappointing fighters out there. So let's give them a little bit of limelight.
Yeah, we don't just ride the coattails. You know what I mean? We're not just sucking up. We'll call it like we see it.
Exactly. Again,
with all due respect.
What you see is what you get. All right. Oh, with all due respect award. That's what we should have done. With all due respect. All right. So my most disappointing fighter of 2021.
Yeah.
Tyron Woodley.
Interesting.
Tyron Woodley. Yes. So we see he finally starts letting go of his hands a little bit more against Vicente Luque, right?
Yeah.
Your boy gets caught, and then he gets choked out. Okay. You know what? At least he went out guns a-blazing. He was more active.
Looked like Tyron of old.
Yes. Then he signs a fight against Jake Paul, and everybody's like, here we go. Jake Paul is fighting a striker. And my boy was more hesitant again.
The frozen one.
Yes, unfortunately, the frozen one. But he doesn't get knocked out. He doesn't do anything like that. And then, and then here we go.
But in the third
rematch.
One, the third fight of the year.
He's saying he's going to let his hands go more. Didn't happen very much. Instead, he dropped his left hand, and here came the right from Jake Paul. And all you see is my man's advertisement, dude wipes, sticking up in the air because he's face down on the canvas. Disappointing. A bit disappointing for me, man.
Yeah. I don't know if you uploaded that picture right here that's up on the screen, but let me just echo what you said. And Tyron Woodley is also my pick.
Oh, really?
Unfortunately. I mean, who else do you go with, Nothing really else came to mind. This is a pretty obvious one for me. And it sucks because I do like Woodley. I still like Woodley. He seems like a pretty cool dude. And he had a pretty
nothing
cool...
personal.
No, it's just the facts.
Yeah.
We're like the news. This isn't Fox News. This isn't CNN. We report just the facts.
Raw,
uncut. We'll do it live. But I think Woodley, I mean, it sucks, but I hope he's kind of done, right? I mean, going back to last year, I mean, you can make the argument he was the most disappointing last year as well. It's been a while since he's done something impressive. And it sucks because I like him.
You know what was close for me? Take a guess.
I don't know.
Cody Garbrandt.
Honestly, ooh,
that was a close one
bad.
for me. But you know how I feel about Cody Garbrandt. That's my boy. So I couldn't pick that. Let's see what the listeners picked. We had George come through with Conor McGregor. That's a good one.
Good pick. Yeah, that's a very good one. Probably like morally disappointing.
Yeah, disappointing in a lot of ways. Vic,
not just in fighting, but in life.
Vic and JPZ both picked Kevin Holland.
I can see that. I mean, the difference, the pendulum swing of his previous year versus this year.
Was he our fighter of the year for last year?
I think he was.
I think he was fighter of the year. Man.
Either breakout fighter or fight of the year. I don't think he was fight of the year, but it was definitely maybe breakout fighter.
Wow.
I mean, he had a massive year in 2020.
He did.
Yeah.
All right. Swings. And then Nevro says, most disappointing, Marlon Moraes.
Oh, that's a good pick too.
That's a really good one too. Dude, this is what I love about our listeners. They all know their shit,
They do. Yeah, they really do. And
I freaking love it.
Yeah. And what's cool is, like I said earlier, this year, not a lot of easy picks. No. I mean, not one of them picked Tyron Woodley. You know what I mean? So it's cool getting that variation,
For sure. All right, we'll go on to the next one. Biggest surprise of the year for 2021. For me, it was Nick Diaz making a comeback in UFC 266, which took place in September. But I just didn't think it was going to happen. I didn't think we were going to see Nick Diaz again. So
that's a good surprise.
This was a very, very pleasant surprise for me. Wasn't the outcome that we all would have liked, but still, I was very happy to see him back.
Yeah. Nick Diaz, ride or die, Yeah,
it
could have went a little different, but it was surprising that he came back.
Very. All right, what was your pick?
My pick for biggest surprise is the scuffle and the back and forth and the controversy with Dana White and Francis Ngannou's manager, which ultimately, in my opinion, led to Kevin Lee getting cut.
Wow.
Right. So, I mean, that's crazy because looking at up until this year, the promotion getting behind Francis and feeding the hype train, shoveling coals in the hype train. And then he starts asking for a little bit more money. And they're like, oh, we'll cut one of your other fighters. We'll do an interim belt, even though you're asking for the fight 1 month after, which is crazy, right? 1 month delay. Other champions get like a whole year off between fights. This dude couldn't even get like 6 months. Just big surprise, the shift in tone. It reminds me of, like, remember when Dana talking about Stitch Duran, and he's like, he was never my friend. It's like, this is all business, man. The hype is only there if you play along, It was surprising to me to see that kind of a back and forth between them, and it's still ongoing. I don't know what's going to happen after this Francis Cyril Gane fight.
That the way you explain it just makes sense now for the Kevin Lee cut from the UFC.
Yeah, they can't cut Francis, so all right, we'll take one of the other fighters.
Wow,
Wow.
Yeah, and Kevin Lee's like, what did I do other than fight the toughest fighters out there, man?
Yeah, other than pick the guys that are up and coming rather than just holding on to my ranking.
Yeah, true. All right, so Sansan had picked Volkanovski escaping Ortega's guillotine choke. Dude, that was very surprising.
That was a big surprise. That was crazy.
Volkanovski was surprised.
Yeah, right. I think everybody was surprised on that. That was nuts.
And then Vic picked Jan defeating Izzy. He was surprised by that.
Jan
Vic,
Blachowicz,
yeah. I think Izzy for a time there was just seeming larger than life. With the way that
he looked so untouchable.
Yeah. So I could see how Vic would have picked the Jan defeating Izzy as his biggest surprise of the year for 2021. All right, we'll move on. Referee of the year for 2021. I mean, do we even have to spend time on this, Will? Because I know.
I mean, I bet you will pick the same person.
I mean, maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not, I guess.
I picked Jason Herzog.
Oh, I didn't.
You're such a liar.
Yeah, no, I picked Herzog. Come on. Look at him.
Jason Herzog, man. For me, for somebody that is hard on referees and judges and all that stuff, Herzog, more often than not, I find myself telling like whoever's sitting here with me, like, man, he made the right call.
Yeah.
He made the right call. He let it go on just long enough. He stopped it at the right time. You know, he was stern enough during that. Yeah, he's been hitting on all cylinders.
For me, it's like, all cylinders, because it's not just the stoppages. It's like when he takes points, when he steps in, you know what I mean? Like this one, he takes a point from Nico Price for eye pokes, right? Not a bunch of warnings. This one was the knee to the down opponent in the Bruce Leroy Sungwoo Choi fight. This one I highlighted because he not only takes a point, but he calls it immediately, where all the commentators are like, I don't know, it seemed close. And even after the replay, Bisping's like, it looked like it hit the chest. Other angle shows it was straight a headshot, right? Knocks Bruce Leroy down. Takes him over to his corner, grabs a coach, has the coach translate for him to explain to him what's going on. It's just that like extra step, you know? The dude he's just so good, so professional. He also took a point from Paulo Costa this year against Marvin Vettori on the first eye poke. He gave him a warning after the first round that his fingers were out. And that's all you need. That's all you get. First eye poke takes a point away. DC talks a bunch of trash about him. Paulo Costa's complaining about it. Oh, you should get more than one. Fuck no, dude. Don't eye poke. You know what I mean? If everybody refed like Herzog, we'd have way less eye pokes in the UFC. Everybody's focused on the gloves, but I think the number one problem is the refereeing. Second problem is the gloves. And Herzog.
Not from Herzog. Not from Herzog. Listeners, Vic said Mark Goddard. You know, I love me some Mark Goddard too.
I wish he refed more. It seems like he maybe only does the international events. Rarely do you see him in
international events. I've seen him doing some of the boxing events too, like the bare knuckle boxing events, which are awesome. Seeing him and Mergliata doing some of those, hilarious. And Nevro said Jason Herzog as well, and he also pointed out, you know, somebody that goes above and beyond. He's like, he knows a couple different languages too.
Yeah, he speaks Portuguese. I don't know if he speaks Portuguese fluently.
Você fala português?
Yeah, but he knows enough, right? He knows enough to. He also knows some Japanese. I've seen him in the international fights in Japan, telling people stuff in Japanese. He's not fluent, but you, but you learn enough to do your job. And no, I don't see anybody else doing that.
Just super impressive. Great year from Jason Herzog. Props to him. We got to try to get him on the pod, man. We really do.
I know. The problem is it's hard to reach out. You have to do it in the comments because all the referees have their DMs private because I'm sure they just get a ton of hate.
Just blowing up nonstop. Yeah. All right. Coach of the year. This might be there was a couple categories where everybody picked the same. Now I don't know yours.
I'm sure everybody picked the same one. This one.
But Coach of the Year, Trevor Whitman. Taking a look at the work that Trevor Whitman has done, you know, with Kamaru Usman, Rose Namajunas, Justin Gaethje, you really do see the improvements, man, in Usman's game too, in his striking.
Oh, I mean, it's been night and day.
And you also have Gaethje that talks about the fact that he's trying to avoid taking so much damage, and maybe not so much in the last fight, but he's more cerebral with his approach now, and that's from Trevor Whitman as well. And I mean, look at him scolding Justin Gaethje on this picture we just put up, and Gaethje looks like a little 4-year-old, like pouting. I love it. I love it. But somebody that keeps it real with his fighters, man, I absolutely love Trevor Whitman, the work that he's doing. Just mad props to him.
Yeah. I mean, you look at just those three fighters alone. He's got other fighters, but you look at just those three fighters. I went with Whitman also. But you look at those three fighters, you have Thug Rose taking the belt from Zhang Weili, defending her belt against Zhang Weili. So 2 title fights in a year for just her. Gaethje fights the number 1 contender in a crazy fight, wins it. And then Usman has a historic year, go 3-0 in all championship fights. Just that alone is fine. But then you look at UFC 268, and it's Thug Rose defending her belt. It's Gaethje beating Chandler, and then it's Usman beating Covington.
In the same night?
Back to back to back. Dude's on working overtime, you know? And, I mean, it was a flawless night, you know? The dude's the best coach.
If you're Trevor Whitman, that's going to be a better night.
No, he's the best coach.
Fantastic. And let's see here again. Our listener San Trevor Whitman. Vic said Trevor Whitman. John J. Peasy said Trevor Whitman. And Nevro said Trevor Whitman. Oh, look at him. Just
look at him. Old school.
That's like each bill represents a pick from our listeners, from us. You know what I mean? Like, look at that. Just fantastic. I love it. All right. Let's move on. Next, we have fights that we wish would have happened. Okay. So
this is an interesting one because this could be like anything, right?
It is.
Yeah.
And you know what? I got a couple of them, if you don't mind, Will. The main one, though, the one that gets my award for the fight that should have happened, Masvidal versus Edwards.
Yeah, that was an honorable mention for me.
I just was so pumped to see that fight ever since the 3-piece in the soda. You know, they just have a history together. Yeah. So when I saw this fight announced, I was like, finally, one.
Let's get it happening.
it gives Edwards another big name fighter, which I think he would beat. And two, it separates Masvidal again from all this hype that we had going, the Masvidal hype train, which quite honestly, I think he's a little overrated. So it helps us kind of get away from that a little bit. But man, I wish I would have gone down.
I know, me too. That was a close one for me.
Oh, and the second one, if you don't mind, just any fight with John Jones at heavyweight.
Yeah,
just any fight, you know.
Yeah, just see him in there.
Yeah, just
potentially the best to ever do it.
Potentially, and everybody that listens knows how I feel about John Jones. I'm not the biggest John Jones fan in the world, but goddamn, can the guy like just fight? He can fight, dude. Yeah, and there's still like a lot of excitement leading up to John Jones fights. A John Jones fight week, it's not as good as a McGregor fight week, but there's still a lot of excitement behind it, and I miss it.
Yeah, same. The sport is better with him fighting, unfortunately.
Much as it hurts to say. All right, who's your pick?
Yeah. My pick is Francis Nganu versus John Jones. You know, all this stuff's going on. It's craziness with both of them now, which is crazy, right? It's like the two problem children at heavyweight. The UFC doesn't want to like appease any of them. But after Francis beat Stipe, they had three options. They could have done the trilogy with Stipe. They could have done the fight with Cyril Gane, or they could have done the super fight, Francis versus John, and instead we got none of them.
Rough.
Yeah, at least we're getting the Cyril Gane one this month, but damn, all three of those could have happened. And because of bullshit pettiness on both sides, the UFC and the fighter sides, I don't think either of them are 100% in the clear. All parties are fucked up, I think, but we got none of them.
Well, let's see what our listener said.
I'm just tired of, real quick, I'm tired of one heavyweight title fight a year.
Me too.
I'm over it. We need more.
We need more. Yes. All right. So Jorge picked Jan versus Aljo 2.
Yeah. Should have happened.
Yeah, for sure. Vic said Jones versus Stipe.
That would be great too.
Has John Jones in there. Let me see here. We have a JPC that said Edwards versus Hamzat. That would have also been
another one.
A really good fight because that's a big test for Hamzat. That catapults him into the top 3 in the division. You know, and if Hamzat wins, now we don't have to keep on hearing Edwards saying, "I deserve a title shot." You know, over and over and again. So, all right. Oh, and then Nevro, my boy Nevro, just pat, shooting from the hip. Hamzat versus Sean Brady. Sugar Sean versus Ricky Simone. Simon. T-City versus Yair. That would have been a fun one.
Yeah.
Let me see. Dom Reyes versus Johnny Walker. Biggie Boy versus Mr. Shui, he said. And Aspinall versus Volkov. Hey, Nevro, cool. You just did the UFC's job here for the next year, dude. You gotta slow down.
Dude, you know what I wish happened? And it didn't happen. It just came to me right now. Robert Whittaker versus Paulo Costa. That was supposed to happen, remember? And then Paulo Costa was like, whatever. He got the hair transplants, right? He pulled out and then he got the hair transplants. But we could have got Whittaker versus, come on.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
San. That fight needs to happen.
D-Rod versus Bilal.
Let's do it. That's a great fight.
Amazing. That is a really good fight, too. Hey, dude, don't hate on Paulo Costa for getting hair transplant, bro.
No, I'm not. I'm just, that's what happened. These are the facts. We deal with the facts.
You're follically blessed, bro.
Yeah, not on my face.
All right,
man.
All right. No, but that was a great call too of D-Rod versus Bilal. Hopefully that's a fight we get to see soon too. Bilal, I know, is really pushing for a title fight right now. He might need to slow his roll.
Might need to slow his roll.
All right. Let's see here. Where are we at now? Upset of the year.
Biggest upset of 2021.
I wonder what this could be. All right. So for me, it's Juliana Pena versus Amanda Nunes. Now, your boy here might have called it since January of 2021, but still, it's got to go down as one of the biggest upsets in UFC history. So, of course, it's going to go down as the biggest upset for 2021.
Even if you picked it in January of last year, almost a whole year before it happened.
A year ago for sure.
A year ago for sure, right before.
Hey, call me Nostradamus, student.
Yeah, exactly. But even if you called it, that doesn't change what the odds were going into the fight. Exactly. And the odds were heavily favoring Amanda Nunes. Pena came out there and said, catch these hands. She took the belt from her. And it's my pick also.
Pena also said, I'll catch your hands, but I'll keep on moving forward.
Yeah. Dude,
that's Nunes isn't used to.
Yeah. I was more surprised of Pena's ability to take Amanda's shots than I was for Nunes's inability to take Pena's. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That part's not as surprising. You get hit by that by anybody, eventually you will go down. But for Pena to be able to take those shots that Amanda was throwing, we've never seen anybody else take those. And she just chewed right through them.
Straight bulldog. I mean, we think about somebody who might be in their perfect weight class.
Yeah.
And Juliana Pena is somebody that comes to mind who doesn't have to cut too much. She's not thinking about any other weight classes she would love to be added on, because she's an in-betweener. It's a perfect weight class. So I think about somebody being able to take a punch, not
That's
having
where you
to go
want to
through
be.
great. Yeah. So good for her, man. I'm super happy for her. Again, I've been a big fan since she's been on Tough. And your boy called this shot. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. 1 year before. Whole year.
All right. Let's see. Upsets of the year. So Sansan, Jorge, Vic, John, and Nevro all went Pena versus Nunes.
Yeah. How can you not? I mean, it was shocking.
Oh, that's a really good shot right there, too. You see the mouthpiece kind of starting to come out a little bit.
Yep. And you see she's slipping Nunes's.
Oh, it's such a good fight. You know what? I want to go back and watch it again.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Back and watch it again.
That was nuts, man.
All right, let's see here. Comeback of the year. So sorry to the listeners that I reached out to, but we decided to add on comeback of the year last minute. So I don't have any from any of the listeners other than Nevro. Actually, Nevro just randomly threw one in there without knowing. Yeah. But so comeback of the year, I have Marab Valeshvili versus Marlon Morias.
Yeah.
Dude, Marab was in some serious trouble.
Yeah.
Morias, everybody always says, man, that first round with Morias is extremely dangerous.
Yep.
And Marab got to see that firsthand.
That had to be a 10-8 round, right?
Had to have been. And then you see Marab, first of all, great job. I don't remember who was reffing, but they let it go on long enough. Marab goes on pure instinct, trying to grab onto whatever he can, wrestling. And then coming back in the second round, Morias looking a little more tired. Gets
as is tradition.
Yes, Valeshvili, taking him down, hitting him with some ground and pound, and just a dominant performance.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess that's
second round.
I'm gonna guess that's Keith Peterson as a ref right there, just from that shot.
Considering the length of his legs, I would say it's also no nonsense Keith Peterson. Yes.
Yeah, and he took no nonsense in that fight. He not only did he give Marab a chance to come back, he gave Marlon a decent chance also. That was a tough round. Marlon survived most.
As long as your name's not Dominic Cruz, you're going to get a chance.
Yeah.
Okay? As long as your name's not Dominic Cruz. But what a fight by Valeshvili. And when we think about somebody that's moving up in the division that has a lot of potential, this is one of those guys. Ray Longo, right? Ray Longo guy?
Yep.
Oh, and Matt Serra. Can't forget Matt Serra.
Longo Serra. So this one for me was an easy pick. I do have an honorable mention that I'll say after, but my pick was also Marab versus Marlon. I didn't have a storybook sequence of photos like you. I just put them together as one.
Oh, you picked the same one?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I mean, it was crazy, man. And Marab, there's a chance he could be comeback fighter of 2020 also. Remember, he dove into that frozen lake and split his head open, and then got it stapled closed, came back and posted the video of him punching through the ice. Remember?
Yeah,
this is basically the same thing, man. Had his head split open in the first round, came back, and then ground and pound on the ice, But yeah, this was insane. I mean, that first round was absolutely nuts. The damage he took.
An honorable mention for me was Charles Oliveira.
Oh yeah, that's a good one too.
But I thought, man, just
this one was insane.
How close Valeshvili was to being finished, to how he ended is just amazing. So let's see here. Nevro came through with
my other honorable mention was Bruce Leroy against Sungwoo Choi.
Oh, okay.
I went back and watched it because I wanted to talk about Herzog, and I was like, let me just get a refresher right. Dude got dropped like twice in the first round of that fight, and then ate the illegal knee in the first round, and then comes back, takes his back, chokes him out in the next round. Pretty fantastic comeback from our boy Bruce Leroy. Shout out Bruce Leroy.
Shout out Bruce Leroy, who introduces us every time we go live.
Yeah,
I love it.
Hope the Wellness Center is doing well.
I like what you did.
He opened up that new spot.
I like it. All right, Nevro said Davey Grant versus Jonathan Martinez.
Oh, that's a good one too.
I love really Davey Grant. Also. I know, he's just a dog, man.
Yeah, seriously.
All right, we're getting to the meat and potatoes here. Oh, hold on. Sansan just came through saying best comeback 2021, Bruno Silva over Andrew Sanchez.
That was a good one too.
That's a really good one for sure. God, I love all these
fights.
Man, all these memories. He did.
Yeah.
Was it three W's?
Year. I think 3 W's. He's going to fight Alex Pereira next year or this year. Happy New Year's.
Exciting. Happy New Year's, everybody. I like how you just tossed that in there. But yes, these are some of the more coveted awards. When fighters are thinking about the award shows, they get invitations and they're like, well, you know what? I'm waiting for these. I'm waiting for the SOF, best submission, best knockouts, fighter of the year. So here we go. Best submission of 2021. I have Brandon Moreno versus Fugite 2.
Yeah, now, I was very close on picking that one.
The reason that I picked this one, by the way, look at the picture that
Richard
Casual just put up right now. He's looking at the ref, just waiting for the ref to call it off.
Yeah.
Like he just knows I'm so close right now. But, the way that he tripped him, the quick scramble to take his back, the body lock in so quickly, and it was game over from that point. But for me, it's also just what it meant. The first champion, Mexican-born champion, the work that Brandon Moreno put in, getting cut from the UFC, making his way back, climbing back up the ladder, putting up a fight of the year contender at the end of 2020 against Figueiredo, and then coming back and not just beating him, but dominating him, man.
That's what makes it even crazier is the fact that both of their fights right before this was a fight of the year draw between the two of them that was very close. Obviously, it was a draw because that was that close. And then he comes out and just, he steamrolled him.
That
was shocking.
It just
couldn't be happening.
And again, he seems like such a nice guy.
Yeah.
So like I was like genuinely like happy.
Me too.
All emo, like he worked so hard for this. Maybe I had a little too much whiskey that night. I was like, dude, he deserves it. But man, when we think about moments for MMA or moments that just are larger than the sport itself, this is one that's going to stick with me for a very long time.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
That was awesome.
Let's see what some of our listeners said. Sansan Shimaev's rear naked choke on Li Jingliang.
Yeah, that's a good one. We're just going to breeze over my pick, though.
Oh, dude, I'm sorry. What was yours? You know what, Will? It's just mine and the listeners' awards this year. You're out of here.
Mine was less emotional because I was very close to picking the Moreno one also. But I ended up going with Anthony Hernandez and the guillotine choke over Rodolfo Vieira just because, Vieira coming into the UFC – the dude's nickname is the Black Belt Hunter. You know what I mean? Like the dude is not only built like a tank, but it's so technical and highly skilled on the ground that this fight, I'll venture to say that he was probably given Anthony Hernandez to have a quick submission win to start his UFC career. And it did not go as planned. He gassed out. Anthony Hernandez had him in all kinds of trouble before the submission and really just, out-grappled him until he got the submission. And it was shocking. Vieira is, if this fight didn't happen, he would be considered probably top 3 in the UFC on the ground. It's him, Mackenzie Dern, Damian Maia's still technically there, right? Jacare's gone now. His accolades on the ground speak for themselves. The guy's insane. The fact that he got subbed makes this, for me, submission of the year, because it was just, going into that fight, if you had to pick and rank what were the most likely, it would be Vieira by submission, probably Vieira by decision, Hernandez by decision, Hernandez by knockout, Hernandez by submission.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. It was crazy.
HOB Comer coming through said so many good submissions this year. Definitely agree. And HOB Comer, we got to get a way to be able to reach out to you, man, through like social media or something, because you're one of the ones that I wanted to reach out to ask for your picks. But I did no way to get through to you. Not sure. So maybe just message us later on. Yeah. But I agree. So many good submissions.
Throughout the rest of the show, put what you think should have won each award that we're going to be sharing soon.
So sorry about that, Will. I didn't mean to just jump over you like that. But San said Chimaev's rear naked choke on Li Jingliang, which was a good one. Very impressive. Again, I didn't expect Chimaev to just run over Li Jingliang like that, and he did. Jorge said Luque versus Chiesa.
Another really good one.
That's another good one.
Going into that fight, if you picked Luque was it Darce choke that he got him on?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane pick if you got that before the fight.
Yeah, dude. And John J. Peasy said Usman versus Masvidal. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Hernandez versus Vieira. Vieira is what Vic picked. Vic Hernandez versus Vieira. John said Muniz versus Jacare. That was a rough one. Muniz versus Jacare. That was heartbreaking.
I like to forget about that one.
I like to forget about it.
Listen, we deal with the facts here until it hurts our feelings.
that was one that hurt. Yeah.
Broke my goddamn heart.
The next one, best knockout of 2021. Again, another one of the coveted awards. Ooh. Fighters wait for this. And I guarantee you the fighter that got this knockout of the year, as soon as it was over, he's like, dude, I just won me an SOF award. Dude,
well, what's crazy is this one, there's a few choices that could be made here that were very impressive. I'd like to see what you picked, because,
and again, the listeners throwing in some different options too, and I loved doing this because I got so many different memories, like coming back with these fighters and these
I think there
knockouts
are 4
and submissions.
There are 4 that, if you picked any of those 4, could be. You're not wrong. All
right. Well, I'll go with my pick right now, and my pick is Yidri Prohaska versus Dom Reyes.
Yeah.
That beautiful elbow that caught Reyes right on the chin. And do you remember how much trouble Yidri was in too?
Dude, he got dropped with an up kick. Dude, Dominic Reyes, it sucks, man, because his rise was fast. He arguably beats John Jones, and it's just back-to-back very tough losses.
Dude, in my eyes,
he's still so good. He's so good, which makes this knockout more impressive, because I think Reyes is fantastic.
Dude, he's a top-level fighter still. And what was it? Was it a report that came out in articles that saying that he's taking it easy because of the head trauma and stuff like that with it? Again, I wish more fighters would do that, but it just shows how smart of a guy that Dom Reyes is, and I hope we see him back in there soon. And in this case, he just went up against a freaking samurai.
Yeah,
who had this in his back pocket with that elbow, and it was a walk-off.
It was a walk-off.
Super impressive KO. And also, he got us some fans in Czech Republic as well, so thank you, Yidri Prohaska.
Yeah. My pick, believe it or not, is also Yidri Prohaska. Maybe some bias here, because I've been a fan for a long time. When he first was announced to make his debut, I was so excited. I thought he's one fight away from a championship bout. I've been saying that for both of his fights now. I thought maybe he was gonna get his title shot this year. Looks like he'll probably get it this year, I guess, 2022. But this fight was fucking crazy. This is Yidri is definitely the coolest. It was just so savage. It was crazy. And he had Reyes just on the back foot, didn't give him any breaks, and then to land that spinning back elbow against the fence, and just like you said with the walk off, absolutely nuts.
The timing.
It was crazy. So that's for
Reyes
me.
was stalking him. He was stalking him at that point.
Yeah, at that point, they had just gotten up, right?
Yep.
I mean, Yidri was dropped 30 seconds before that. I mean,
it's just insane.
It was crazy. Honorable mentions that I almost picked. Bahamondes had the spinning wheel kick, and I think if it were anybody else at a higher level with more name power,
Nevro also picked Bahamondes versus Roberts.
Yeah.
So as you call out your honorable mentions, I'm going to let you know which listeners also picked the same.
Yeah, that one for me, Bahamondes, it was so perfect, and I think that guy is such. I mean, dude, people need to watch that guy, because not just did he get that knockout, but before that, he was so impressive. I'm very high on Bahamondes. Outside of him, I almost went with Sandman flying knee against Frankie Edgar. That was a very close one for me. And then obviously Masvidal and Usman. That was a massive one. Those are my four.
Jorge, Vic, and JPZ all went with Usman versus Mazvidal.
Yeah.
The shot, that iconic shot where it's just like he's all the way extended, following through on his punch, and it's just with all the sweat all around him.
He baptized him.
It's like an aura of sweat.
It looks like a Renaissance painting. It's such a dramatic shot.
It is.
It's so dramatic.
God, I love this sport.
I mean, god damn, it's good.
And San picked one that was a little bit of a stab to my heart, but it was Kai Kara France versus Cody Garbrandt.
It's a good one.
It's another good one.
Cody, let's not forget, when he was going to come down originally, they were going to give him a title shot, and then Moreno says, "Hold my Modelo," and Cody Garbrandt has to fight somebody else. Yeah, he had a choice.
He's brewed with the fighting spirit.
Yeah. So I mean, he went from potentially getting a title shot to getting knocked out. Yeah, not being ranked.
And now he's calling for Sugar Sean O'Malley, saying that he wants that fight.
Yeah, which is hilarious because it's the whole time he's been calling out O'Malley for not fighting ranked fighters, and as he finally starts calling out O'Malley, it's at the same time that O'Malley's like, "I'm going to start fighting ranked fighters."
Well, it
comes as a little desperate from Cody, unfortunately.
He was on a Fight Companion when Sean O'Malley
called him out originally.
Called him out, and he's like, "Nah, dude, that's not how it works. Like, you got to work your way up." And now he's like, "Sean O'Malley, I want you,
please, please."
No, don't do that. Poor guy, dude.
I mean, let's be honest, dude. What else does he have right now? That's the fight that he needs to get. But if I'm O'Malley, I'm like, you're not ranked. I'm gonna fight Ricky Simone, who is ranked, who we have bad blood already. So maybe get ranked and then I'll fight you. I mean, if I'm O'Malley, I mean, it's the same thing. What did he say when O'Malley broke his leg, right, against Chito Vera? Some people aren't built for this. When Cody gets knocked out by Kai Kara France, O'Malley says, some people aren't built for this. And now that Cody's calling out O'Malley, he's going to be like, listen, man, that's not how it works. Maybe get a win.
Fight night, O'Malley versus Garbrandt. Who's built for this?
Yeah.
That's just that's the title. All right. Event of the year. My event of the year.
This was tough, man. This was tough.
It was. But my event of the year was UFC 266.
266? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I have Volkanovski versus Ortega. Fantastic fight. Fantastic fight. Some people, I'm sure, haven't picked fight of the year. Okay?
Yep. I think ESPN picked that as fight of the year.
You have Valentina Shashinko versus Lauren Murphy. And Valentina, this was not a close fight. But we continue seeing Valentina just showcase her skill set and how dominant she is. We have Robbie Lawler versus Nick Diaz. Again, my surprise of 2020, biggest surprise of 2020, was the return of Nick Diaz. So this was very nostalgic for me.
Yeah.
You had Curtis Blaze versus Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Jessica Andrade versus Cynthia Calvillo. This is where you had Marab Valeshvili versus Marlon Morias. Dan Hooker versus Nasrat Hakprost. Dude,
good fight.
this card was
It's a good card.
Stacked. So this was my event of the year.
Yeah, that's a good one. I have 3 honorable mentions before I say my pick. Listen, man, this is a good year. It's a very good year.
It was a fantastic year for MMA, yes.
Yeah. My first honorable mention, Rich, I only have one picture, so we'll just wait until I say my actual pick. But first honorable mention is UFC 268. Top to bottom, you get Usman versus Covington with good rematch, good fight. Thug Rose defends her belt against Zhang Wei Li.
That's really good too.
Chito Vera fights Frankie Edgar, breaks my heart.
Chandler.
Shane Burgos versus Billy the Kid, Quarantillo.
That's right.
Could have been, a fantastic fight. Probably would have won fight of the night on any other card, right? Gaethje versus Chandler. Pajeda knocks out Andres Michailidis. Bobby Green has a fantastic performance against Ali Cuenta. Chris Curtis gets the huge upset knockout of Phil Hawes. Imavov looks fantastic against Edmund. Ian Gary makes his debut. Chris Barnett has the wheel. Crazy card. I'm not gonna go through it all, but crazy card.
That's a good one. That's a really good one too.
Yeah.
And that's just an honorable mention. I'm excited to see what you actually pick. Oh, geez.
Yeah. Another honorable mention: UFC Vegas 42, Yair versus Holloway. It broke the record for most finishes on a single card. The main event is some people's fight of the year. It was crazy. De Lima knocks out Ben Rothwell. Spencer finishes Leah Ledson. Chaos William and Baeza have the crazy fight that they have. Song Yadong gets the second round knockout against Arce. Joel Alvarez knocks out Thiago Moises. Sean Woodson with the shots to the body drops Anglin. It was crazy. That was a great one. Dawn Young knocks out Nzechukwu. Then we have the one that I was very close to picking. The closest one I was to picking that didn't end up getting it was 1FC Winter Warriors. Put it out on YouTube. It's free. You can watch the whole card. This card was so fucking good. It blew my mind. I was watching it at work because it was so early over here, right? Just live on YouTube. Buchecha's on the card, right? Fantastic jiu-jitsu. You have Nasyukin versus what's his name? Doggy. And it was a rematch, and it was that fight could have been fight of the year. It was crazy. You had Jingling Q versus Hiroki Akimoto in a kickboxing fight, and it was fantastic. You have the women's strawweight Grand Prix finale in Stant Fairtex versus Rita. Dude, insane fight. Stant Fairtex should be a superstar. And then you have a kickboxing bout championship fight in the main event. Fantastic fight. It's free on YouTube. It's only 6 fights, but every single one is a banger. Everybody should go watch it.
That was a 1FC
Winter Warriors. Yeah, really good.
I'm going to watch that right as soon as we're done with this.
Whew. I got another one for you to watch because I have a feeling you didn't watch it, even though I was blowing you guys up about it. Every year since K1, since Pride, since Dream, Japan has done a show on New Year's Eve, and it's the best. It's always amazing. They go all out.
HLVK over.
Yeah.
You just lost us all.
Listen, man, it's on YouTube. Go watch it after this. It's fantastic.
Oh, my God.
But then Japan, they do the New Year's Eve card. And Rizin, if everybody likes Pride, right? Everybody likes Pride. They're nostalgic about Pride. Fedor, Krokop, Randleman, all these guys, right? It's still happening. Everybody thinks it's a thing of a past. It's still happening in Rizin. The problem is the time zones, it's all fucked up. This started 8:30 p.m. Pacific time. But it's $25. You get to watch it all night. You get it for 4 weeks. This card, I'm telling you, dude, it starts off with what the hell's his name? I can't think of his name right now, but he won the gold medal in skateboarding. There's a runway that goes down to the ring, and it starts off with him getting announced. No, he's Japanese. And he skates down and fucking does a board. They have a rail on the runway, and he does a board slide on the rail. And they're like, whoa. Yeah, it's fucking awesome. And then you go through, and this card was so fucking crazy. I think it was like 16 fights. You have Satoshi fighting on it. You have Shrek fighting on it. It's the Bantamweight Grand Prix finale. So the semifinals start the card. 2 fights. The winner of those fights fight in the main event. Fucking amazing. Soccer kicks on the ground. Head stomps. Fucking look at it. Rizin, I'm gonna go to fucking Japan, and I'm gonna see a Rizin card in person because they are, in my opinion, I'll go out on a limb and say it, the best MMA organization currently.
What?
Entertainment value alone, right? They don't have the big names that the UFC has, obviously, but dude, entertainment value so much higher than everybody else. It's insane. They don't do as many cards.
Eagle FC.
Yeah, there's no Diego Sanchez versus Kevin Lee in this, but yeah, dude. I mean, you need to watch it. I shared you my logins. You don't have to buy it. Fucking watch it. Yeah, George says better than Bellator. Dude, I'm telling you, we have flying arm bars. You have huge upsets. You have, I mean, the rule set alone makes the fight so much better. Soccer kicks and shit like that. There's no stalling, you know. There's yellow cards like Pride. Like, it's fucking amazing. Everybody should go watch this.
Yeah. All right.
Long-winded. Sorry about that.
At 10:30 over here.
You get it for 4 weeks?
All right. So I'll watch one FC Winter Warriors, and then I'll watch the Rizin New Year Bang over here. So you're saying this was the best card?
In my opinion, entertainment value alone, top to bottom, you don't have to skip it. There's kickboxing fights. There's superstars. There's people making their debut. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy.
So your event of the year was actually the very last day of the year.
Dude, and I watched it, and I fell asleep because it was late as fuck, and I rewatched. I went start to bottom on New Year's Eve, watched it. The last fight ended 30 seconds before New Year's, you know, before midnight, and I can't tell you how much I enjoyed it. Just watching it by myself. Fucking Katie's asleep already. It was so good.
All right, I'm gonna check it out just because you're so passionate about it. Yeah. Now we'll go ahead and bring everybody back in. And,
yeah, sorry guys.
It's so funny watching the comments just blow up as you're talking about that. So
listen,
funny.
man, the problem is Rizin, I don't think they're making that much money. Nobody's watching it, but it's so fucking good. People need to be, because I want to see more events from them.
All right, let's see here. My screen just turned off. Let me pull it up over here.
What do we have next? We have
yeah, you're gonna have to read through them.
Yeah, so we got 2021 Fight of the Year. This is probably the biggest one, right? This is the most coveted.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, this is probably the most coveted.
Oh, man, hold on. All my notes went away. Go ahead and go with yours.
Okay. For me, this was a tough one. There were so many good fights this year, but I ended up going with the Just Bleed Gods pick of Justin Gaethje versus Michael Chandler.
Yes. I mean, it's kind of hard not to, right?
Yeah. I mean, look at what the fuck is it? That picture's insane. Both of them. They're, I mean, going into it, we knew, right, that this was going to be insane. Going into it, we thought this is probably going to be, if Chandler wins and then Dustin wins, that's probably the next fight. If Gaethje wins, he's probably fighting the winner of Dustin versus Oliveira. So the stakes were already super high, right? No matter what, the stakes were high. Gaethje has never been in a boring fight. Chandler took the UFC by storm as soon as he came in. He knocks out Dan Hooker in the first fight. He drops Oliveira in the first round. He escapes Oliveira on his back in the first round. I mean, the guy is so exciting. So going into this, we knew there's some fights where on paper you're like, this is going to be crazy, and then it kind of fizzles out, right? Derek Lewis versus Francis Ngannou. But then there's somewhere on paper you're like, this is going to be insane, and there's no way this is going to be a fizzled fight, and this is one of those, and it delivered.
I mean, I picked the same with Gaethje and Chandler, and it's like you said, there was so much buildup leading up to this one where we're just thinking it's just going to be war.
Yeah. The people's main event, everybody was calling it.
you get two of these fighters that are very similar, and like you said before, styles make fights, right? So sometimes it cancels itself out because they don't want to get into this slugfest. Yeah. But both of these guys wanted it. They both wanted it, man.
When they were like, whoever takes the first step back loses, I was like, oh my God. It's fucking terrifying.
But you hear that. Whoever goes for the first takedown's a dusty bitch. That's what McGregor said, right? Yeah. And he's going for takedowns.
Yeah.
But these guys absolutely delivered, man. That takedown too from Chandler. Dude, look at that slam. Just
crazy.
Hey, shout out to the photographers too. Just fantastic.
Dude, they did a great job. Yeah, and Chandler, it wasn't a one-sided fight. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people picked like Holloway versus Calvin Kattar and stuff, and a lot of people picked ESPN picked Volkanovski versus Ortega, which in my opinion is a very good fight. But outside of those two submission threats, it was pretty one-sided. This fight, even though it was clear that Gaethje won the fight, dude was hurt a couple times. I mean, he was wobbly like 3 times throughout the fight. Chandler, the fact that he powered through his leg being completely toast in the 3rd round, and at a certain point, he just puts his hands straight down and is just eating shots from Gaethje. I mean, this fight was straight up electric. Crazy fight.
Our listener, San said Volkanovski versus Ortega fight of the year.
Crazy
Very
fight.
good fight. Very good fight. Jorge said Gaethje versus Chandler. Vic said Ortega versus Volkanovski. And then John, also known as JPZ, and Nevro, Holloway versus Yair. That was a very close second for me.
Really good one. Yeah.
Another
really good one. That was, man, I was worried for Holloway in the early rounds of that fight.
So was I. But, dude, this for me was, I don't want to say a coming out party for Yair. Because, he's already popular and people know him. But
he got his recognition.
So much respect and recognition after this fight. So,
because going into that fight, it was like, oh, yeah, he beat Korean Zombie, but he was getting his ass kicked for 5 rounds until he landed the elbow. So I think people were kind of discrediting him a little bit. But, dude, you do not take the fight to Max Holloway like that unless you're world class. World class. That fight should have been for a belt. I mean, fuck, dude. That division's so stacked, it sucks.
I know.
It becomes a bad thing when it's that stacked. It's like, what do we have? 2 champions?
We have a female fighter of the year next. And I have Valentina Shashinko.
Oh.
So check it out. She beat Andrade.
So check it out. Listen here.
So check it out, dude. Andrade with the crucifix, repeated elbows. Yeah. She beats Lauren Murphy by ground and pound in every other way imaginable. And then she made a terrible movie with Halle Berry. It looks somewhat bearable. So, you know what? Fighter of the year, right? Like,
I've heard that movie is not good.
It is not, dude. It is.
Did you watch it?
Yes, I did.
Really?
Yes, I did. Because I was like, okay, this is MMA fights. This is. I was extremely bored that night, and I was like, you know what? Halle Berry's still smoking hot. Absolute smoke show. So let me watch it. And then halfway through it, I was like, this movie fucking sucks. But I was like, dude, I'm just already so far into it right now. Like, don't stop now. And then I was like, oh, there's Valentina Shashinko. And just watching her on the silver screen, as they call it, right? And then I guess it's her acting debut. I don't know if it is or not, but it is for me watching her. And it was fun. Watching her was fun.
That's the biggest. I should have put that as biggest surprise of the year. I wish I knew that.
Also, though, awful movie.
Yeah, I mean, it ruined Ngano's career. This movie.
The movie?
Yeah, because it was supposed to be her in it, and so she declined to fight because they were filming. So UFC said, "All right, cool, you cut. You need to take fights." And then Halle Berry was like, "Yeah, you're cut from the movie too because we need it to be an actual UFC fighter." And then she's just kind of left in the dust.
Hey, and at the same time, I feel like Ngano's the one that dodged a bullet here. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's just awful movie. Awful movie. All right.
Hey, shout out. George says, to be fair, are there any good MMA movies? HLB Comer says Warrior. Warrior's fucking awesome. Holy shit.
I gotta watch that.
That movie makes me cry like a little bitch.
Let me see. Hey, Richard Casual coming through saying better acting than Rousey. Yes.
Not a very high bar.
Better striking than Rousey. Like, yeah. Better everything than Rousey. Yeah.
All right, my pick for female fight of the year. No bias, I promise, no bias. Thug Rose got my pick because while yes, Shivchenko had a fantastic year. She had 2 wins. Shivchenko.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So did Thug Rose. The difference for me though is Shivchenko is expected to win those fights. So while it is still impressive, she's expected to. Rose versus Zhang Weili. Before that fight, go online. Everybody's saying how much of a tank Zhang Weili is. And you look at Andrade beat Rose, and she's a tank, all this stuff. That high kick was shocking. nobody predicted a high kick in the first round knockout, clean knockout from Rose. And then she goes and doubles it up and she beats her in the rematch. So she becomes the first female fighter ever to be a 2-time champion. There's simultaneous belt holders, right? But no one has ever lost the belt and then got it back as a female. So she's my female fighter of the year for both of those things.
I like it. Ooh,
HLB Comer, yeah, I get it.
What do you say there?
But the female fighter of the year has to be Pena, right? Just for shock value alone. I was close to picking Pena.
That's not a bad pick.
Yeah, I was so close to picking her.
That's a really good pick too.
It's crazy. That's crazy. It's hard to even wrap your head around like how insane that is. It's one of those things that like after the fact, it starts to become more normalized, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But like going into it and then it actually happening is one of the craziest things that has ever happened in the sport. You know, I was very close to picking her.
And that's a really good pick too by HLB Comer. Now, Sansan also had Rose Namajunas. So
shout out Sansan.
I sent this out to, like I said, a lot of our listeners, and Sansan only wanted to respond with the female fighter of the year.
Everyone else was like, man.
Yeah, hey, thanks a lot, guys. Right. Here we go. The fighter of the year, the most coveted award.
The male fighter of the year.
In all of MMA.
Yeah.
SOF award, fighter of the year.
This one is, I went back and forth so many times.
Really?
Yeah, there's two that I was, fuck. I want to see who you picked. Well,
I pick Kamaru Usman. So he KOs Gilbert Burns, KOs Jorge Masvidal, and he beat Colby Covington by decision. That was a very good fight against Colby Covington as well, which the fighter that a lot of people thought is the one that gave Usman the most trouble and that would probably, he would risk losing to the most. And he took that fight, and, dude, it was a very good fight. So for me, fight of the year, Kamaru Usman. By the way, also 3 fights in the year for a champion.
Yeah.
For a champion. I love how active he is.
Yeah, I mean, it's rare that you get a champ that active, and it's nice because the division's been so stagnated before this. I mean, remember when we did the who we think is going to end the year, we picked Usman, but we also said, but it's probably only going to be because there's not going to be a lot of opportunities to beat him because he's probably going to fight once a year. Here he is being the most active champ.
I know, right?
Like we picked it right, but I mean, did we? I was very, very close. Very, very close to picking Usman. But I went with Charles Oliveira.
Ooh,
I went with the Bronx.
Same here. I was like back and forth.
Because here's the thing, for both of them,
from the favela.
So impressive. Yeah, just so impressive, both of them. The reason I went with Oliveira is he had 2 championship fights that he won, right? Not 3, but 2. But one of them, he became the champion. And I feel like that's so important to actually get the belt. He had his first title defense. And the reason I weigh his fights more than I do Usman, because Usman, he knocked out Gilbert Burns, and he was hurt early in the fight. Then he fights Masvidal, who, in my opinion, didn't even deserve the first title shot. Definitely didn't deserve the second one. Instant rematch for Masvidal. He didn't have to wait. He didn't have to fight anybody else. So it's like he kind of been there, done that. Covington was riding off a win from Woodley from like the year previous. Also sat out and got a title shot. Also a rematch. Someone that Usman finished the first time. Still impressive, right? 3 title fights in a year and defending your belt all 3 times. It's so impressive. Like, I don't want to discredit him, but I do put more value in what Oliveira did because he beats Chandler in a fight that going into it, everyone's saying he has no grit. He has no championship heart. When the going gets tough, Oliveira quits. He gets dropped in the first round, comes back, beats him, chokes him out in the second, or knocks him out in the second. I mean, what a fantastic way to take the belt. Then after that, people still don't fully give him credit because everyone's saying he's just holding the belt for Dustin. It's either Khabib would have the belt if he was still here, or he's just holding the belt for Dustin. Dustin's the people's champ. Dustin's the true champ. Just wait till they fight. They end up fighting. Again, loses the first round, but then Oliveira mounts the comeback and just the dominant second round and then the choke. I mean, he beat the guy that everybody said was the uncrowned champ of the division. Everybody thought Dustin was a champ. There's no doubting him now. And I feel like those 2 wins are so valuable and so massive. They're more than just 2 wins. I got to go with Oliveira.
No, absolutely. HLB Comer says Oliveira for me too. We already knew how good he was or how good Usman is, but nobody expected Oliveira to remain a champ. And he actually made me think about how he would do against Habib as well. Dude, everybody has that. Oh, I know. And also, HLB Comer before that said, let's give Romero his props for his pick. I think he's talking about Juliana Pena. Got everybody. Yeah. Let's just stop talking about my pick, Juliana Pena.
A year
previously. Or hey, Rich, put it up on the screen, please. But I don't want any more recognition, guys. Rich, make sure it stays up on the screen though. But I don't want any more recognition, anybody. All right. Oh man. All right. Let's see here.
Listen, make one pick before the year.
Sansan, Charles Oliveira. Jorge went with Charles Oliveira, so a couple of them there. And then Vic says Kamaru Usman. JPZ says Kamaru Usman. And the curveball from our listeners, Nevro says Max Holloway.
Ooh, I mean, very impressive year.
I have a little description or explanation, I should say, about why Max Holloway. So he said Max Holloway Fighter of the Year. He's been on the top forever, dropped the ball slightly against Volkov, but it's still shown he's the best.
Slightly.
It's like Izzy at 185. Nothing in a challenge except for number 1 and 2.
Yeah,
Max is facts. I like how that rhymes.
Yeah. You can't really argue that, what he says. The only reason that I wouldn't give it to Holloway is because title fights are so goddamn important. But, I mean, he had a very impressive year. Very impressive year.
Very impressive year. And you know what? I want to give you some recognition, Will, for staying on top of everything. When I talk, like, I think I'm a fight degenerate. Like, I just like watching fights. But when I think of the ultimate fight degenerate, man, watching ONE FC, Winter Warriors, watching Rizin. I mean, watching bum fights still, and you're like, dude, you gotta check this bum out.
I don't watch bum fights.
Dude, like all these random fights. Yeah. You're like, dude, the Valetudo over in Brazil, you gotta watch this one guy. He's an up-and-coming fighter. But props to you, Will. You know, recognition to Richard Casual for, again, coming on this show and really making this a lot more enjoyable for you and me, you know, and adding production quality onto the show as well.
This platform, we wouldn't be on this platform. We'd still be doing it through screen recording Discord and photoshopping an overlay every single episode.
For real. And just some recognition as well to our ride or dies, our listeners, you know, and HLB Comer, San, Vic, Jorge, JPZ, Nevro, just, man.
Coleslaw started the church thing.
Brian, you know.
Yeah, shout out Brian.
But no, it's been an absolute blast. And I know we said it on the last episode, but I'm just extremely thankful to be doing this. It's a lot of fun. And, man, big things for 2022, huh?
Yeah, and shout out to Ramiro for predicting 5 of the champs by the end of the year. And we'll go ahead and announce it right now. I don't know. Well, next week, our episode is going to be who we predict is going to end 2022 with the belt. There's still no UFC fights on Saturday, so that's what we'll be doing. If you guys want to make your predictions also, who you think is going to finish the year with the belt in each weight class, we'll be doing another one of those. And got to mention the Yanez match. Yeah, Yanez gave us a shout out, which is very cool. Good year for us, right?
So did D-Rod.
Yeah. Very cool year for us.
Some folks from the Upgrade Management team, too. You know, we take a look at Ghost Pepper Gonzalez that was on the show, too.
At his debut, man. Fuck, what a cool year.
It's been an absolute fun year, man. And I think that 2022 is going to be even bigger still. So I'm super excited. You know, just in the chat that Richard Casual, Will, and I have, we're just talking about New Year resolution for us. It's just being, you know, more aggressive when it comes to getting some of these interviews on the podcast for our listeners. It's just nice to get to know these fighters and what they're all about. And it's different instead of just listening to the regular interviews of like, who do you plan on fighting next? You know, and just getting to know the fighters more. It's just a blast. So
it's cool. And so next week, hopefully we have it in time. But Ramiro he ended the year with a belt. He got the story of the fight predictions belt it's currently being made. Hopefully it will be there by next week's episode. He'll have the belt, and then the winner of next year's predictions will get the belt, and we'll pass it back and forth, hopefully. And hopefully it's not just Ramiro having it all year, every year with his
I'm already planning on just building like a little like shelf right here just for the belt, because it's gonna stay here. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's gonna stay here. And then also, I'll be reaching out to a lot of our listeners as well to get some of their predictions. And what I would like to do, Will, did you see the mini belts too?
Yeah.
So
we can make a replica of our belt.
Yes, exactly. For the listeners, whichever one of our listeners gets the most right by the end of the year, I want to ship them one of the replicas as well from the SOF predictions belt.
So they'll get a belt, and we got a new shirt design coming. It's gonna be a fun year. I'd like to do more fight companions also.
That would be a lot of fun.
It's tough. It's really tough to be able to do, but where we can squeeze them in, I'd like to. Those are fun.
All right, I love it. Do you have anything else in, Will?
No, thank you guys for being so active on this episode. These episodes are the most fun.
Absolutely, and I mean now there's work to be done. We have to roll the red carpet back in.
Yeah, I gotta take this robe off.
Yeah, gotta take the robe off. But an absolute blast. Thank you for everybody that sent in their picks. HOB Comer, don't forget to message us like an Instagram contact or something like that. And that way we can get your prediction picks for 2022. And another fun week of Story of the Fight. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
We need to get Rich's picks. He'll probably end up picking like Brock